Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today we're going to talk about Dungeons and Dragons, and we're going to talk about James Gunn becoming the lead of DC Studios. Technically, he's the co-lead. I don't believe in co-leads, so I'm just saying he's the lead because that's the reality of it. It's not that is the harsh reality of it, right? But officially, he's a co-lead. Go look up whoever his other stupid co-lead is. Just some dude who nobody knows the name of. But the real story here is James Gunn, who was fully canceled, is now the lead of DC Studios. That's huge. That is huge, right? That has meaning for our culture, right? And then it says, and the meaning is cancel culture is kind of over. I don't know if you can really cancel people the way you used to. There's still some canceling going on, but I think the power of cancel culture has been massively reduced. Okay, so James Gunn steps in as the lead of DC Studios. What does this mean for Dungeons and Dragons? Well, okay, so basically, the moment James Gunn stepped into his lead role at DC Studios, a lead role at yeah, that's a good way to say it. James Gunn has a lead role at DC Studios. There you go. That's technically correct, all right, and officially correct. All right, so here we go. All right. When he stepped into his lead role at DC Studios, immediately people began saying, wait a second, holy cows, there is a possibility we could have a DC Marvel movie crossover. What? Right? Because that hasn't happened since the new MCU, right? And the reason why is Marvel's like, hey, we made it, right? We don't need to play nice with DC anymore. And frankly, there are billions of dollars on the line, so it's daggers out, baby. Let's go, right? But if you remember, there used to be a time in the comic books when DC and Marvel did play nice. I actually own. Oh no, I did sell it. Ooh, I had it in my grubby little mitts for a while, and I sold it. But I owned the amazing Batman versus Hulk comic book, official comic book. Oh, and I still own the amalgams. So I own amalgam comics that mix, DC heroes and Marvel heroes, which is very exciting, right? And these crossovers were incredible, right? So James Gunn getting in, I would say it's a 5% possibility. Okay, yeah, absolutely. 95%. Marvel will still stay on its high horse and say, you know what, we're not going to make, we make real Marvel, we make real movies about heroes and people that actually make sense, that people like. Your garbage should never, your garbage DC movies really shouldn't be mixed with our high quality Marvel cinematic films, right? They are not in the same league, right? Literally, DC movies are just they have great special effects. The production values on them high. They haven't hired a single writer to write. Every single one of their stories is utter trash. They don't connect to each other, and all of the writers for the DC material are people who have no clue what a DC hero is, right? And probably have never read three DC comics in their lives. Every single film, right? It's ridiculous, right? So it's bad. It's really bad, right? And so basically, where we land here is James Gunn has worked for both. He's made Suicide Squad, and he has also made Guardians of the Galaxy, and he has made money for both. And if there's a bridge where they could be connected, James Gunn can connect that bridge, right? Now, what does that mean for Dungeons & Dragons? Well, first of all, let's give props where props are due. Dungeons & Dragons has done an amazing job of actually has really done a fantastic, amazing job of playing nice with multiple other world creators, right? Intellectual properties that own and manage intellectual property worlds, and they have connected them to their D&D world. Magic the Gathering, right? They played very nice, and there are combined products. Legos, they played very nice, and we have combined products. Funko Pop, Wizards of the Coast has played very nice and mixed the D&D worlds with the Funko Pop worlds. Fantastic, right? Yahtzee, right? They're like, hey, We know you got Borderlands world over there on Yahtzee. Let's connect that up to Dungeons and Dragons world with Yahtzee, right? And a bunch of other worlds. Firefly, right? Like it's, there's a Dungeons and Dragons Yahtzee set and there's a Firefly Yahtzee set. You can sit down and physically build a campaign with those intellectually property mixed sets, right? Physically. It's fantastic, right? But Wizards of the Coast with Dungeons and Dragons has been like, Dungeons and Dragons don't mix its worlds. Has not done a great job of mixing its worlds with actually specific tabletop role-playing game worlds, right? There has never been a Pathfinder Dungeons and Dragons collaboration. Dungeons and Dragons would never rub the stink of Pathfinder on its gleaming pure product, Dungeons and Dragons, right? It's same reason why, like, Marvel now is like, we really don't want to do a Marvel DC movie because, like, your stuff sucks and it's embarrassing and our stuff is world class, right? And it's the same thing. Like, D&D's like, we're over here, making bank and, like, leading the tabletop role-playing community. You guys make $25 million a year revenue. I think we spend that on cheese in Wizards of the Coast, right? Like, and so for there to be a tabletop role-playing game connection, right, for Dungeons and Dragons, basically D&D would need to be humble, right? And they would need to say, we're up on the stage, we're going to lift another property up on the stage from the tabletop role-playing game world. I don't think they would ever do it with Pathfinder. Pathfinder just doesn't have the quality, and it doesn't excite anyone, right? And they're like, you guys are just a copy of us. We're not going to deign to, like, put you on the same level as us and do a TTRPG collab. So what would be the best Dungeons & Dragons tabletop role-playing game to tabletop role-playing game world collab? I think it would be where it would work best, where it would be a perfect, and where everybody will get super excited is Shadowrun. Shadowrun's been around for decades. They've done the hard work. They have an amazing world, and they have the most crap rule system ever. So if you had an official collab between Dungeons & Dragons and Shadowrun, and they said, hey, this portal gate will allow your player characters to go from Dungeons & Dragons world into Shadowrun, and we are officially allowing Shadowrun to be built out with Perkinian Dungeons & Dragons rules, oh my gosh, I think the world would lose the TTPRG world would lose its freaking mind, right? And it would be the first time you could actually play Shadowrun. I actually think by rules, Shadowrun is actually fully unplayable. It's just terrible. And so it has always needed a better rule system. By the way, I ran Dungeons and Dragons with the Cypher system. It's on the internet. You can go find it. And actually, it worked great, right? So Shadowrun with a better rule system is amazing. Shadowrun with its own rule system is literally unplayable, in my humble opinion. And so I think this would be the best way to do a TTPRG to TTPRG collab, and I am very excited for the 5% possibility. If the dice rolls come up lucky, I think we could be seeing a Marvel DC movie crossover, and it would just be Kevin Feige saying, yeah, we've been standing on this stage for 12 years. You guys have been embarrassed and not been able to make anything decent. We've already proven that. Like, Sony can't make a decent movie, but you rub them up next to Marvel, and hey, suddenly you got a good movie, right? And so it would just be Kevin Feige saying, I'm going to be kind, right? And I would love to see that. I would love to see James Gunn become a bridge to make a DC Marvel crossover film. And boy, would I love to see a Dungeons & Dragons Shadowrun official tabletop role-playing game, intellectual property combined, and actually be able to play Shadowrun officially with an actual playable Perkinian D&D rule set. All that's my humble opinion. I'm eager to hear yours. Let me know in the comments below. Please consider liking and subscribing, and have a wonderful millennium.